Hello, thank you for having me today. As a Texas master craftsman, I get asked a lot about treatment and how you treat your hives. And ever since I started beekeeping, I've used what they call natural beekeeping or hygienic beekeeping. And as a beekeeper, you always want to have the strongest stock, the strongest queens for beekeeping. I've always bought my bees from bee weavers and our weavers. There's other beekeepers that do such things, but when Africanized bees started coming into Texas, and then there started to become issues with varroa mites, they started to do some experiments there over a decade now about finding bees that can smell varroa. And what they do is they'll literally smell varroa in a capped larva and open that cap and remove that larva and clean those varroas off. It's a trait. Think of it like bees with very high, intense smell. People also are worried about the murder hornets. What do you do? And there's another trait in other bees where they ball around the murder hornet, the scout, and they raise their temperature up to 105 degrees that kills the murder hornet. Bees die at 106 degrees. That's how perfect and precise bees are as insects. They learn and adapt. So instead of using a lot of different chemicals, and if you take chemicals that are helpful, over time, the disease, the varroa mite, different things, they start to become virulent to where they're not effective anymore. So to talk about such treatments is very important, but how do you make a timeless video? So my advice is, if you use any such treatments, you always want to follow the packaging and the instructions to the letter. You do not want to overdose and kill your bees. And some of these chemicals, you want to use the least harmful chemical, the most natural one possible, so that those chemicals don't leave residue in the wax that you may be putting on your face or on your lips or in the honey. You want to be very careful. And if you follow the guidelines in these chemicals, you will be successful and they will work. But for me, I choose to requeen my hives. That is always my first go-to. And to keep my breeding stock strong, to bring in new stock every couple of years. Even if I haven't lost a single hive, I try to bring in new queens so that new drones are made and replenished, so I don't have a mating yard for my queens that is too closely related. So here we are. Robin, tell us about these chemicals. For me, I'll let Franz Civic talk about the treatments that he uses. He's somebody I trust very much, and I got a chance to see him speak on them in Slovenia at World Bee Day. And I am thankful to share this video with you today. Enjoy.
You have something, some material, books or so, and asking to have you maybe you have a possibility to find literally tiny crystals. Yes, I had, and he sent me 10 kilos.
Wow.
Then I made a mixture. 1 kilo diamond and 1 liter alcohol. 95% about. The mixture, and I mixed. Then I cut oasis floral foam, you know, this floral
Flowers.
plates, 5 millimeters thickness. And then I put on this plate 20 millimeters. 20 millimeters, it means 10 grams of diamond for all plates. And then a friend of mine, he made the same thing, and he produced an enzyme already prepared. This mixture prepared, and this was Morana. The title of this was Morana, and Morana is goddess death of all Slavic tribes.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Yes.
Perfect.
and then for the burrow. So, and he used the plates of cellulose on the right side. Well, we put these plates on four normally on four corners above the room chamber on the queen excluder. 1 week. Then next week we repeat new plates, and the third week again new plates. And if that's still we see a lot of varroa on the bottom, then we make the fourth time. It means 4 times we treat varroa.
And what time of year did you do this before or after that?
This is after the last
Extraction.
after the last extraction. One possibility is also to put only in 2 corners. I think it is good to put a mesh down, plastic mesh, and this up, so the bees doesn't eat the foam. Well, and this is the result. And then the first week is so, then less and less.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh,
Then at the end, maybe the third time, second time less, then we found less. So then we leave the bees, and in September I just make a trial on 2 or 3 hives to see the situation about it. And then in November, December, we use oxalic acid, sublimation or evaporation of oxalic acid. You know this. Yes. We have different devices, tools. This is very simple, also not expensive. I say often this is like a Russian tank. It's very so. Now, and this is sophisticated. More. Here we have possibility to regulate the temperature, and here is also we can see the actual temperature. The normal temperature is the best temperature is about 180 Celsius degree. This is the best temperature. And we begin first in the beginning or in the middle of November. This is the first time. Then second time at the beginning of December, and the last time about 20s or to the end of December. So at the end of December there is sure no brood. And it is important that we can treat 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, no problem that the bees doesn't suffer. The bees live very well over the winter.
how many days in between treatments do you do?
Between 1 and 2nd treatment,
Yeah.
about 15 days. Yes. It is very important to have a very good mask, face mask. This is the special filter against the hot vapors of organic acids. This is very important because we must protect ourselves. For the bees it's not dangerous, but for us it's dangerous. I have a very good mask. The filters are from Sweden, specially designed for this purpose. And then now we see what I have made this year. It's not my invention. It is already known. Just this year I tried the first time. It was a success. My first flow, and the most important flow, is acacia, because I have bees near Terengona, near Gorizia. And there are forests of acacia. And it is important to have bees well developed at the beginning of May, when acacia begins to bloom. But this is now at the end of January. At the end of January, my bees are this is 3-story Asia. I have now only 3-story Asia. And, but through the winter, my bees are only in 1 story, in the first floor, in blue chamber, on 10 frames, because if they are only in 1 chamber, then it's easier to use oxalic acid and also diamond. Now it is the end of January. The acid begins to bloom at that time, and the bees. This is a cushion made of polyurethane, thickness 5 centimeters above the
So you put
queen
this,
excluder.
okay.
There are 2 queen excluders. See.
Now, do you have the foam on top, and then do you put the foam inside the back door?
Also the back, yes.
And you leave the flaps open?
Yes, yes. So the bees begin to break pollen, and the root begin to develop. Of course, this is important when the first day comes, sunny weather, and the temperature above 10 Celsius degree, then we must control very quickly if the bees have enough honey on both sides, on the extreme frames. And of course, if there is some brood growing. Then at the time of willow blooming, at that time the bees are already, they have already a lot of brood here. Then I open the honey chamber and I put here frames with already built combs and foundations, comb foundations. These are foundations. And the bees, they go to the chamber, to the honey chamber, and when the weather is good, the bees can already build the foundations. So they, in very good weather conditions, I can have also 4 to 5 new virgin combs. At that time, I control also the quality of the queens. But here you can see the queens of 4 qualities. This is the best quality. Also, this is the best quality because you see there are very few holes and insects. Here, this is not so good quality, and this is worse quality. Because I must know the quality of the queens, I wish to change the queens a little later, before the beginning of the vacation. Now we are at the end of April or the first days of May. At that time, I make an interruption of queen laying eggs. It is few days before honeymoon. Some people, Italians for example, they do this with queen caging. In Italy, this is very often. And last year they practiced Italian people was very often. But I made something different. I didn't put the queen into cage, because in the cage the queen cannot do anything. I wish that the queen continue with laying eggs. So I put the queen in a small nuke. I will explain you how I make the nuke. So here, now we have here brood. Here we have a lot of bees. No, yes, also some brood because I put the brood before, some kept brood before. So we have here also a lot of bees and also kept brood. Then, at this moment, the first days of May, I put now the second chamber into third place, the third floor, and here I put again empty frames and foundations. So what is the situation? Here we have brood, a lot of brood and no queen. I removed queen. And now I take, here I look for a frame where are young larvae, or better if there are only eggs. And I mark this frame. And then I put one similar frame with eggs also to this third level. Look, here are these cells with eggs. And I mark this frame also here. Why I do this? Because I wish that the bees breed new queens here and here.
But it's open between all three.
There are two queens.
Queens, okay.
Yes. Okay, this family here is now separated from this here and is orphan. No? And she began to breed queen cells. What I do with the queen, which I took from the look, I put in I have nukes, hives, small hives, with 7 frames. And I put the brood, one frame with this one frame with young brood, not kept brood, not yet kept. I put near the wall of the hive. Then here comes the foundation, and here is an empty frame. And
So when you say foundation, you can draw on comb. No, the middle frame, you say foundation,
foundation.
it has drawn comb on it?
No, not
No, just the foundation.
just foundation.
And then when you say empty frame,
Yeah.
what's in that one?
In empty frame, I will give some water also, because they need some water at the beginning.
So
Doesn't matter, nothing else.
Who's looking at?
And then
I was just like,
look, and then I put here also from other frames some bees, so that all these frames must be covered with bees. I put them from other frames, just put them. So this is a small family with old queen. And it is possible now to bring them away or to have them in the near the old beehives. But if they are near the beehives, the forage bees will return back to the old hives. But if I personally put them 2 kilometers from my bee yard to my house in the center of the village, and so also the forage bees remain here. This is I have done this 1, 2, 3 days before acacia begins to bloom. And here are now these hives, looks very famous. I have made this enough early that these families can develop, can come to for example, to September with 7 frames and full of bees. These families are prepared for winter, they are enough strong for winter. And with a lot of young combs. And now, the first day when I have made this, what I do, Varroa is only on the adult bees. The frame with the open brood is without varroa. There is no varroa yet. And this the same day when I made these nukes, I already drip with oxalic acid. So I kill all varroa practically, which are on the under the base. It's understandable. You understand this? Yeah. Well, look then here in this hive, in this nuke, then I use also 3 partial building frames. Here I put only some strip of foundations, and the bees build here comb with worker cells. And of course, if there is no flow, then I put them also sugar here in the hive. There are different feeders. I use different feeders, but one of them is also this. So they build very quickly. They build quickly new frames. And look after how they build this frame. This is quite. This here we can see honey, kept honey. And here this part is pollen, bee bread. I can cut this piece that I have been bred in comb bee bread, and also comb honey. Acacia. In the old hives, the bees have no work with brood because the queen is not in the hives, and the bees are not in the hives, they are without queen, and every day there is less brood to be nursed. So the nurse will become foraging bees before normally they are foraging bees. And they go all to flow. They fly and they bring nectar from acacia. Here I have 2 types of acacia. This is normal acacia, white flowers, and this is Hungarian selection, so-called Rosaceae acacia. And what is the characteristic of this? This bloom, this acacia, when this is over, blooming is over, begins this one. So we extend the period of blooming and of flow on acacia. It is very important. 8 days from the removal of the queen, the colony is examined, and all the queen cells destroyed except one in the first story and on the 3rd floor. Look here, I eliminated these cells, and only this one was, in my opinion, the best. This is 8 days from the removal. It is important not to be too late to do this work. When 18 days later, when the young queen is already painted and it has some young brood, the colony must be examined again to see if we have here one queen and if here is one other queen, because the queen can be lost during the mating flight. But I have two queens, so normally one of them is sure there. Sometimes also both queens are there. So I use one queen for another purposes. Then I take the queen and I mark it. I know.
It's a reassuring thing to hear that some of the same treatments we're doing in the United States, they're doing overseas. And yet, if some treatments are missing, maybe there's a reason. It's good for us to connect with our bee families in other countries to see what they're doing and learn from them so that we are all doing the very best for our honeybees and for the products that we sell to the public. I hope you've enjoyed this time and this video and found it eye-opening. It is wonderful for us to work together and to speak candidly and to know that we can come together to help each other when we're struggling in our hives. When there's something that you don't see and you don't understand, that there's beekeepers and clubs that you can go to get help. Being a part of a bee club is so important. Going to annual conventions, you can learn just as much from the beekeepers you're sitting next to as you can from the people giving the speeches and the talks. Don't be shy. We're one family. We supply, with our work, 1 of every 3 bites of food. We take care of the creatures that pollinate and make that food. We're one. We're together. We're together in this. And we have a righteous pursuit to feed the world, not just with food, but with God's word. Pleasant words is a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bone. Thank you for stepping forward and being brave in feeding the world with me. May God bless you. Stay spirit-filled every day.